excited to announce accessing Salesforce Reports and Dashboards in Slack. We have Aaron Crear to present for us today. He is a 10-time certified leader of the Lowell, Massachusetts Admins Community Group, co-organizer of Northeast Dreamin', co-founder of the Report Force blog, and new Salesforce MVP. Thanks so much.
Before we start, just a big thank you to the sponsors. I run one of these events. They do not happen without them. So please stop by their booths, check out their apps and their services, and when their salespeople call you next week, be nice to them. They're just doing their jobs. Okay. I'm a recovering sales manager. I haven't made a cold call or begged somebody for a purchase order in about 10 years, and I've never felt better. I started using Salesforce as an inside sales rep almost 20 years ago. Became an accidental admin at a bunch of places that I worked, and about 10 years ago I was tired of having a quota hanging over my head because they never go down, and I wanted to do something technical, and somebody introduced me to this thing called Trailhead, my local admin community group, and I was off and running. So I speak at a ton of these events because I feel really fortunate I was able to make that career pivot, and hopefully I can help some of you advance your careers as well. All right, so why use Slack? Maybe it's because it's where you live. All right, I tell my customers, if you don't want a response from me, please send me an email. I hate email, but I will answer every Slack message I get. It's just preference. You can also bypass some system limitations, which we'll get in, which is pretty cool. And it also gives us further control over the timing and triggers of how our reports and dashboards are sent or pulled to our users. Okay, so there's two ways we're going to see this today. One is using CRM Analytics app, and the second is using Flow. And when I say CRM Analytics app, this is not a paid product like the old Einstein Analytics. It's a free app that you can use if you have Sales Cloud or Service Cloud Enterprise and Slack. So you just install it, and it gives you all these features. Okay, so it is not a paid add-on. All right, so first we're going to look at the CRM Analytics app, and we're going to see some things we can do here. We can browse and view favorites and recents, as well as we can search. We can view and share analytics snapshots. We can send dashboards directly to Slack from within Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, and then we can view and manage our report and dashboard subscriptions, okay? So we're gonna hop over here. So the first thing we need to do is just in setup, is just really check this little box here. That's just saying we can connect that app to our Salesforce instance. Super simple to do. Then on the Slack side, we need to install the app. I have it right here, but if you've never installed an app in Slack, all you gotta do is hit that little plus button, search for it, and then you'll install it. You do have to be an admin on both sides to do this step. It's gonna basically open a window. You'll have to give it allow access and then authenticate, and then you're off and running. Okay, so pretty simple to do. So if we go back to our home here, once we have the app installed, I can see here, I'm seeing all my recent reports, and I can click and open these right from here. Same thing with favorites. We can also search. So if I wanted to find a report and I don't want to go to another tab and go to the reports tab and then have to remember what folder it's in or search for it there, I can do it right from here just using a / command. So I can hit that. Now I have my search. If I say type sales, just hit return. It'll take a minute to run, and then it should pull up a list, hopefully, in our messages. We can see here, it just showed me all the ones that had the word sales in it. So it's an easy way just to kind of navigate to your reports or your dashboards without having to go to another tab if you're living in Slack most of your day. So really simple to do. We can also take a look at snapshots. So if I wanted to look at this dashboard, I can hit view snapshot, and this is going to take a second to run. And when it's done, it's going to send a message back within this app. And this is important because you have to know some of this stuff is going to be viewed in the CRM Analytics app. Some of it's going to be in channels. Some of it's going to be in DMs. So just make sure when you're training your users on this, they understand where things are going to go depending on how you do them. So if I close this, I can see my message here. And now I have basically a snapshot of my dashboard right here without having to go anywhere else. We can also share these. Now, if I go back, I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do this. If I go back here and I want to share this, it's going to pull up the window, Now I can send it to a channel or to a person. So let's just say I want to send it to the sales channel. I can put a message if I want. I'm going to hit done. It'll take a minute to run. We can see here, we have the little bold, so we know something's in there, and I get that. Now I don't like this myself because it just basically sent a message saying, hey, here's a dashboard. It didn't actually send the picture, right? So the way we can do that would be by actually sharing what we sent ourselves a minute ago. So if I went back here, we can then click into this, and I can share this, and that'll actually send the picture. So when I do this myself, I'll make myself do that first step, get the picture into my channel or my message, and then I'll share it that way, just so that whoever I'm sending it to doesn't have to go through that extra step. Okay? Now we can also, within Salesforce, if we go to a dashboard, we can also just send this. Once we have our integration connected, we're going to see a little icon up here. And I can hit this icon, and now I can post the dashboard to Slack. So I'm going to select my workspace, select my channel, throw this one to service, and then I can post that. So if you're the person working inside Salesforce and you want to send it to somebody else that might live it more in Slack, it makes it a little bit easier for you just to send that. We'll go back over here, and we can see service. Same thing. They're still going to have to download it when you send it that way. So just keep that in mind, what the best workflow for everybody is there. Okay. Now, one of the other cool things we can do is, from View Details, I can subscribe. So we can subscribe to reports and dashboards in Slack, just like we can inside of Salesforce. So instead of them being emailed to you, you're going to get them via Slack. And the good part about this is you can have 7 report and dashboard subscriptions in Slack. That is on top of what your limit is for your regular email subscription report in Salesforce. So you're basically getting extra. It'll bypass that limit a little bit. Same thing's going to happen here. You're basically picking your days, picking your time. Do you want an attachment? And then if you're sending, if you have a chart on it, or if you were doing this with a dashboard, you can include that snapshot. So when that goes out, you can send it to multiple people. You can send it to a channel as well. So it doesn't have to be an individual. It could go to a channel. That way you're not using up so many subscriptions. Okay. Let me close that. All right. Now we're going to talk about how to do some things with flow. And what we're going to have here, what we're going to need to build is we're going to build a custom metadata type, one custom field. We're going to need to know some formula and the syntax, and then we're going to create some flows. Okay? We're going to have a couple of use cases. So we want to send an open pipeline report to the sales channel daily, and then we want to send a sales performance dashboard to an executive, so a specific person, when opportunities are won. Okay? So let's take a look at how we do this. So we're going to look at our pipeline. And we're going to take a look at our flow. So our first one is that open pipeline. So this is going to be a scheduled flow. Okay, so it's running daily at a certain time. Let me see if I can get this to run while we're talking. I'm on East Coast time, that's why I'm putting 4 o'clock. All right, hopefully this runs well while we're talking. Okay, and the first thing we have to do is we're getting our report. So we're getting a report, and then I'm using our unique name and just saying it equals what I put in there, right? If you've never seen a unique name on a report, we can just click into one here, and we'll edit it. then in our properties, this is what I'm using for that. Just in case somebody ever changes the label, technically they could still change this, but I just like it as a best practice. So that's the first thing we're going to do. We're getting that. Then I always just do a decision. Did we find that report? Because if we didn't find it, we don't want to do anything else except maybe want to notify somebody, was it mistakenly deleted, whatever. Okay? Then we're getting our Slack channel ID. So we're sending this report to the sales channel. I need to get the ID to tell it where to send it. So when we're configuring this, how do I get that? So first thing is, from the channel, when I hit view channel details, I can copy the ID right down here. So that's what I need. I need that ID. But I'm not pulling that directly from Slack. I have to have it somewhere in Salesforce. So the way I've done it is I've used a custom metadata type. And if you've never used these, they're really like custom objects. But they have an extra layer of security because they're sitting set up. Only admins are going to be able to get to these. But I like them because they're deployable. So you can build them in a sandbox and deploy them everywhere else versus creating actual records that you have to data load everywhere. Okay? So this custom metadata type has one custom field on it, which is just channel ID, and it's text. And then if I look at my channel mappings, all I have to do is just paste in that ID from the channel in here. And that's what we're going to retrieve. So I'm getting my channel ID from that custom metadata type object here. I'm saying the label is sales. Again, I'm checking, did we find the channel, yes or no? And then we're just going to use actions. And if you never use a Slack action, if you're adding an element, you can just hit Slack and you'll see all the native ones here. We're saying we're going to send this through the app. If you had multiple workspaces, you're selecting there. We're going to execute it as the app versus as a person. And the Slack conversation ID, that's where we're sending it. So that's the ID we've gotten from our custom metadata type. And then our message is here. Let's look at this. And I just have some text, check out our open pipeline. Then I have this formula, record link, which is a formula, and this is super useful. And I'll have this on a big slide in a minute here, so don't worry about it. But this right here is a reusable syntax where if I just add a record ID to the end of that, so it could be from a variable, it could be from a get record element, that makes a clickable link to a record. So this is super useful in flows, or if you're sending emails and you want somebody to be able to click into a record or a chatter post or a Slack message, really, really reusable and functional. And I'll have a slide that'll show that in a minute. Then I just have a fault path. So let's take a look over here because I think it actually did run. I can see here there's a little bold on the sales. And then I have right here my message, that's the text. And you can see here it created that clickable link for me. Now, the cool part about using Flow to send this stuff, there are no limits. So look, there are no subscription limits. I can write as many flows as I want to send whatever reports or dashboards whenever I want, whatever cadence I want. So that's an example, just sending it daily to a channel. Now we're going to check out the other one where we're sending it to an individual when a record is closed won. So we will look at our second flow. Here we go. All right, so unlike the first one, which was scheduled, this is going to be record triggered. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make this an asynchronous path. And why we want to do that, and let me just back out for a second here so we can see it. This is newer, but we have to toggle this little button down here. That's what allows the creation of that asynchronous path. Easy to miss. Okay. And why we want to do that is because it's calling out to an external system, and we can't really control the timing. So if this was a record-triggered flow, as you can see on the left side, it's making an update to the account. The type goes to customer. You want to make sure the order of things happens properly, and when you're calling out to that external system, you can't really control that. So that's why we're using the asynchronous path for this. Okay? Now, we're doing a get record. We're getting our dashboard. We're just saying title equals sales performance. Unlike the report where we have that API name, there's no place in the UI where you can see that for a dashboard, which I don't know why, it drives me nuts. So we do really have to use the title for this. Okay, then we're just doing our decision. Did we find it, yes or no? Now we're doing a get record. We're getting username from a user record, okay? And what I've done is on our user object, I'll just show you mine real quick. We just added one custom field to hold our Slack user ID, which is what we're going to need, which is right down here. If you don't know how to get that, you can just right-click on the person, view the details, view the profile, and then where is it? Copy member ID. So we're just going to put that on the user record. That way when I need to send that person a message, I'm just retrieving it from their record right there. It has the ID for me. Okay. Then this is a simple Slack action. Just checks to see if that person is in that Slack workspace, right? You're not going to be able to send that message if it's not. So it's just saying, did that person match, yes or no? And this is out of the box. It's nothing custom. I always do a decision here, just saying, was the outcome or the output from that action, was it true? Meaning, yes, the person is in the workspace. That way we're preventing further errors. Then we're sending our dashboard. Again, we're using the ID. This is from the user record, so that person's Slack user ID. And then we have our message. And our message is very similar to the first. Take a look at our deal desk dashboard. And I have the syntax for the @ mention here. I'll show you on a bigger slide in a second. And then we're using the exact same formula from the previous one, just adding that dashboard ID at the end. That creates the clickable link. So let's see if we can go to an op and make this happen in real time. Let's just take this guy. We'll go backwards. And then we'll go forwards. And here we go. We have our deal desk dashboard. We can click right into it, and we're off and running. So again, we can fully control when these things go out, timing, triggers, no limitations, right, for subscriptions. So pretty useful stuff here. Okay. So this is the syntax. The top part is everything before the record ID is reusable. So all you need to do is add a record ID to the end of that, and it's a clickable link. Now, you can see there the 630, that is referencing API 63.0. So you just had, in the last release, they retired, I think, everything under 30. So you will have to update this at some point, right? So if you think about how many different flows you might use this in, sending emails, chatter messages, Slack, right, that could be a ton of work. So what I do is I package, anytime I use that, I package it into a subflow or a couple of subflows, and that's what actually does the send. That way, if I got to go make updates and change that API, I'm doing it in a couple of places instead of 50, 60 different separate flows. Okay? And then the bottom part, that is the syntax to mention the person in the message itself. So basically, you just replace the get user Slack ID with whatever you're using to retrieve that, a variable or another get records or whatever, and that's how you basically mention somebody. Okay. All right. Slack developer sandboxes are available, so you can get one here. They expire, and you do not get a notification when they expire. I went to do this presentation at my own user group, and 2 hours before, I realized my workspace was gone. I had to redo the whole thing on the fly. So make sure you keep up with these things. A couple of blog posts. So the one on the left I did for Salesforce Break, so MVP Andy Ekin's blog. So it covers everything I showed you on the flow side. And then the one on the right, that's my blog report for us that shows you all the stuff I showed you with the CRM Analytics app. So they all have screenshots, more explanations. It's got the syntax for the formulas and the mention in there as well. And thank you very much. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to happy to answer. Yep.
Why did you choose to use Subflow for the formulas instead of just putting the custom metadata record or something like custom setting?
It doesn't work. So I tried custom that's a great question. When I was doing that, right, I knew I'd have to update those API things at some point. I didn't want to have to do it, so I tried using custom metadata type. I tried using a custom object record. I tried using a custom setting. They all, when they get passed through, just produce text. It will not work as an actual formula. So thanks for asking that. That's why best option I could come up with was the subflow, just limit how much you have to do that. But I was trying everything under the sun because I knew this was going to be something that would come up. But anybody else? Okay, I'll be around if you have some questions. Come up and find me. But thank you very much.
Follow the map, mile high dreaming.